We are back with another episode of Subject to Change.
Welcome back, guys.
What episode
Welcome
are we
back.
on?
Episode 35.
35.
35.
35 and counting.
Jesus, that's over 35 hours that we've been doing this. That's right, isn't it? Yeah. Average.
Yeah.
About 35 hours.
Give or take.
Woo!
Think of all the work we do in the background.
All the work, man.
All the 5 minutes of preparation that we do every time.
Yeah, like a solid 5 minutes of preparation. A solid 5 minutes that you do of preparation. I've been getting better at setting up the equipment, so, I'm learning. How to
Yeah, you did a really good job today.
How to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck, that was so nice turning up and it's all just done. I even turned up early because I was like, get it early, get in there, get it
Man's
set
busy
up.
today. We're busy.
I was like, Jesus.
Booked and busy, so we haven't got time to mess about. But yes, if this is your first time listening to Subject to Change, we are two dudes who don't actually have a clue what we're talking about most of the time.
A couple of unqualified therapists.
Yes, but we wing it, and people seem to be enjoying the experience as we've been going for about a year and a half. My name's Dwayne.
My name is Dan, and if you want some advice off two guys with a shit track record of dating and relationships, then tune in for some unasked for opinions.
But anyway, Dan, how's your week been? I'm sure you're in a good mood today. You look lighter.
I'm in a very good mood today, mate. It is. It's a good day. For a good day.
I knew you were going to say that.
No, I'm in a very good mood today, mate. What about yourself? It's good to be here.
Yes, I'm very content.
Thanks for having me on, every single fortnight. It's an absolute pleasure. The reoccurring guest.
I should have another guest on at some stage.
Yeah, I know. It's an honour to be here. I really appreciate it. You taking the time to be with me.
Oh, yeah. I'm great, mate. Been busy. Booked and busy, but great. Cannot complain. Also, also feeling light.
Yeah, also light.
Yeah.
It's nice, isn't it? Got some serotonin going through me.
You got your Invisalign in?
I do. Yeah,
oh, okay.
Yeah. I was going to take it out, but I just forgot, and now I'm not going to do it now because I don't want that.
I honestly can't talk with them in.
I'm alright with it. These ones are like, these ones are fine. I think sometimes it's a bit hard, but I'm not really lisping that much.
I feel like I have a lisp when I had them in. So
I feel like it looks quite nice in the Invisalign as well because they're a lot more straighter. So any kind of like dents at the bottom of the teeth, you can't really see.
Your teeth look white.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, mate. I'm gonna get whitening with it at the end. Yeah, they're gonna give me whitening. Gonna do a couple of comp bonding. Yeah, get that Hollywood smile. Because I heard the more you fix on the outside, the happier you'll be on the inside. Yeah,
that's definitely true.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, we'll cut that. That's like a little snippet that we're gonna.
Yeah. The more you spend on the outside, the happier you'll be on the inside.
Love a bit of external validation.
Oh, mate, it's for the long haul, and that's what I like about it. Yeah, it's for the long-term satisfaction. That's why I do it. The external shit that you work on. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, today,
mate, what are we going to talk about today?
What are we going to talk about? We are going to talk about. Actually, first of all,
go on.
Follow us on all our social media platforms.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got TikTok, we've got Facebook, we've got Instagram, we've got YouTube. We've got all the good stuff. Give us 5-star ratings on Spotify. Give us 5-star ratings on Apple. And if you are watching or listening on Spotify, if you're listening to Spotify, you can obviously now watch the full episode. That should be available in the bottom right corner if you look on your phone. Or if you're on a computer, you can also watch them there. So thank you very much. And we'll give you 5 seconds to go and do any of the above that we've just forementioned. So. And we're back.
Welcome back.
So today we are going to be talking about the keys to a strong relationship. What are the keys to a strong relationship? And we have about 5 key pillars that we feel are the keys to a strong relationship. And if you're able to do these well, I feel as if that relationship could be...
prosper.
Yeah, like that word. Could prosper. Could maybe go the long haul.
I like
could
it.
Be deathbed together kind of bicentennial man kind of thing. Seen Bicentennial Man?
No. Oh, is that with Robin Williams. That's old school. Yeah. That's a fucking classic, man.
But obviously he turns into human and they both die in their deathbed together.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it's a great film.
They turn it from a robot to
a human.
That's a great film.
Yeah, so we're thinking bicentennial man kind of death, where you die in the deathbed together.
The bicentennial man. That's a good name for this episode. Ooh.
I don't know if many people get that though. Fuck it. The generational. I think those people aren't in the movies like Bobby.
What demographic is? I don't know what demographic is.
No, our demographic's like mid-20s to 40s.
Mid-20s to 40s. Okay. Yeah. Like, man, we get a lot of females.
It's like 50-50.
Oh, it's 50-50 now. Yes. When I looked, it was like 70% females.
Yeah, it's like 50. It's like pretty much like wow. Equal now. I checked the other day, which is pretty good. Fair. You want both.
We haven't had Drew Afulo coming after us either yet, which is
yeah. People have attempted a couple of times.
Yeah. She hasn't. Feel free.
We haven't said anything bad enough for her to like deem it like attackable.
Bring it on. Feel free.
Give us the clout, mate. But yes, we were talking about the keys to a strong relationship. Cool. So Daniel, give me one.
The keys to a strong relationship.
Give me one.
Do you know what? I've been round the roundabout, mate, and I've been through the wars. And I'd say from my years of experience, knowledge, education, and self-development, almost all 30 of them in about a week's time. One of the key things to a relationship, I'd say, is like self-reflection.
Okay.
I'd say is a really important thing, because I think if you're with someone, maybe not self-reflection, self-awareness, but if you're with someone who's like very self-aware of their actions, their like faults, their issues, what they need to work on, I think it's super beneficial, because it means you're going into a relationship with someone where you're not going to be dragging them through every single situation you're going through, but it's like, if they're self-aware of it, they're going to work on it as well. And it's also being with someone where they're self-aware enough that you can tell them as well about something that could potentially be worked on, and you know that you're not going to meet like abrasiveness or like aggression or defensiveness or anything like that. So I would say self-awareness is like a really key thing.
100%.
Relationship.
I do think the self-awareness thing, and again also being accountable to yourself and accountable to your own emotions. And then I'll piggyback off what you said. Whenever you're able to, I guess, bring an issue to your partner and they're able to listen, to understand, and not listen to respond in terms of what you've said to them, is like a massive thing. And I think people kind of underestimate how important it is to be somewhat self-aware of, I guess, who you are, your triggers, your needs and your wants, because that is like, no one knows you as well as you do. And in order for a relationship to flourish, you need to some degree know enough about yourself so that when an issue does arise, you're able to articulate and explain that to your partner whenever, I guess, some sort of, I guess, conflict arises. Because a lot of times, again, it comes down to being aware of your traumas and all the shit that you've been through and how they can affect you today. A lot of the times people are maybe getting into these arguments with their partners and they don't have a clue why they're getting triggered by their partner. Why they're getting triggered by their partner, I guess, going out on a Friday night and then not messaging them until 1 a.m. It's just like, why am I getting annoyed at that? And it's probably because your last boyfriend or your last girlfriend did that and you found out they were cheating. You know what I mean? Even just like small little changes to your self-awareness like that has a massive impact on your relationship. Because, for example, if you do end up with a new partner and they do go out and they don't message you until 1 a.m., instead of you getting so pissed off and like going in and they're like, why are you getting so annoyed at me? Like, I'm sorry, I'm home. You are then able to then go to them and say, look, you not messaging me at 1 a.m. made me feel really uncomfortable. And this is the reason why I felt this way, because my last boyfriend or my last girlfriend went out nights during the week or nights and weekends. I didn't hear from them at 1 a.m. And then I found out a month later that they were actually cheating on me. So just by having that level of self-awareness and understanding of how your feelings are will have a major impact on how you you are able to actually navigate through any conflict that you are in with your partner?
I'd say it's like super helpful as well, because like even if like you're an anxious attached or like avoidantly attached, it's not necessarily like the be all and end all. But as long as like you know that those are some tendencies that you have, you can then like look out for them. And when it does happen, instead of being reactive, you can be whatever the opposite of that would be. I just like lost the word there. Instead of being like reactive, proactive. Sorry, yeah, there we go. So
I could see your brain doing overtime. It's like, what's the opposite of reactive?
I was like, fucking react. I could feel when it gets to the end of the sentence,
and you're like,
I've got no idea what's coming here.
I could see it in your face.
I'll say that again because it's giving the content then, but be able to
whatever the opposite of reactive is.
Oh, look, for anyone who thinks we're thick as fuck, we got all these books here. Like,
if you're watching, we've got loads of books.
We're it's not painted either. They are
actually real.
But it's real. And they have got pages in them as
well.
With
words.
Yeah, it's a real word. But it is really handy because even if you know like you're an avoidant attached or an anxious attached, knowing these things about you means instead of being reactive, you can be proactive. So it just means that like before it happens, you can just like, instead of being on the back foot, you can just handle it straight up, which is 100% going to be so beneficial, just knowing yourself.
And even on touching on the attachment style, I think another important key to a strong relationship is actually knowing your partner's attachment style.
Yeah.
I think if you're aware that your partner is anxious, or you're aware that your partner, we're only going to touch on anxious and avoidant because obviously if you're secure, like
couple of secure alpha dogs like ourselves.
Yeah, you're pretty sweet when you're like fully secure. Like that's great. But if you're aware that your partner's attachment style is anxious or your partner's attachment style is avoidant, like that is gonna have, like for me now, if I had known about attachment styles a few years ago, I think a lot of relationships or a lot of, I guess, situationships that I would have had at the time probably would have turned out so differently. Could have probably been successful. You never know. Or not. Like, you don't know. But even for me with my last girlfriend, like she was like anxious and avoidant. So like certain tendencies that she would portray, I couldn't understand like why she was getting on the way she was. But I think now, after reading the book Attached, reading a lot more about it, after reading the book Attached, understanding when my partner is anxious is massive because I now know how to navigate that situation. I now know how, okay, they're feeling this way. What can I do to ensure that they don't feel anxious anymore? Is it something that I'm doing, or is it just, are they just feeling anxious because they're maybe overthinking a situation? But now it's my job to an extent, because as much as your own feelings are your own issue, when you are in a partnership with someone, you also are somewhat responsible for how they feel as well. And so now that I'm aware of being attached, and if you are now aware of what your partner is, I think addressing them when they bring something to you from an anxious standpoint or an avoidance standpoint is so important to then being able to kind of like bring them back down to a level where they're not feeling.
I was talking to my housemate about this earlier, but he would say he's like an avoidant attached, and his ex was like anxious, and at the time when they ended, there was like, because it didn't work, there was a lot of like toxicity around the situation. But now we had a chat like this morning about it, and I was saying what we were going to talk about today, and one of the things is being able to handle, or for next time being able to handle someone else's attachment style. And he was saying that because he's avoidantly attached and his ex was anxiously attached, before he didn't know how to handle it, but knowing what he would know now, it's like you can still be with that person, but it's knowing how to tailor towards them.
Yes, 100%.
So it comes to that whole thing like, understanding that you just sending that one message, or if you're not going to be able to speak to them all day because you're going to be busy, just be like, hey, by the way, I'm going to be super busy, but I will mess you later on when I'm finished with like X, Y, Z. And it just gives them the peace of mind.
It's such simple things like a text message like that makes a massive...
Yeah.
It might seem like so minuscule and tiny, but just something as a text message, just let them know, by the way, sorry, I've messaged all day, I've been busy, I'll call you later. Done. Anxious tendencies done. Yeah. Like even in the book Attached, it talks about that to an extent where you could be with a partner who is anxious, but you're so busy at work. You could be in, let's say you're a doctor, and you're just busy flat out all day, and your partner tries to call you, but you can't answer the phone call. that partner who's anxious will start overthinking everything. But if you know you're with an anxious person and you see that they're calling, you're like, oh, me probably not being in touch with her or him for the past 5 hours is probably going to make them feel really anxious. Pick up the phone. Hey, I got your phone call. Can I call you later? I'm busy at work. Done. And that just completely just cuts out any kind of anxious tendencies they may have just by doing those small little simple things. Even just giving them reassurance as well that you're probably still into them as much as you were last week or last month, and paying them compliments. Just small little things like that like have a massive effect on keeping that relationship strong.
100%. I think it just takes time to understand that as well.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You're never going to just like, be perfect at it and just be great like the first time, but just, every single day working on those like 1%ers and just getting a bit more of an understanding.
I also think another part about like a key to a strong relationship is, I think, spending time apart.
Yeah, massively. I think there are so many people where they get into, he doesn't usually bark. What's happening? Is there a burglar? I say, you tell him, mate. Yeah, so I was going to say, a really important factor about being in a relationship, and a healthy one, is being able to spend time apart. Because there are so many people, and I definitely have been there before, where it's like you start a new relationship and it's like all of your time, energy and effort is then given to that person. And it's almost like you give up your whole life. And you end up becoming very codependent. Your happiness is based on that person's happiness is based on you. And it's like the whole point of a relationship and how to be your happiest is your priority should be you, their priority should be them. So they can bring their best self to the relationship and you can bring your best self to the
100%.
relationship. So, having time apart is massive, because you also then like build more like fondness for each other. Having that time apart, you have more to talk about, you miss them more, you have that time to feel like what it's like when they're not there. And that can be hugely attractive as well, because when you do spend time with that person, you've got so much more to like bring to it.
100%. I do think, and whenever you're really into someone, you want to be around them all the time. And it might be hard to have that time apart, but like that time apart is so important for your growth. And I think even having that time apart, like you said, it gives you time to reflect in the relationship, and it gives you time to even appreciate the relationship, because if you're constantly around that person, like there's no
you don't have time to soak in.
Yeah, there's no physical room, and there's no emotional room, and no mental room for you to even like sit back and think about the time that you did spend with them.
Yeah.
And think, oh my God, that was fun. Like if you go on a holiday with if you're living with them, different, whatever.
Well, there's still even if you live with them, there's still like
even if but even like the proximity aspect. But like if you think about going away on a holiday with a partner, and you probably spend 4 days, a week together, and you come home, you spend time apart. Like that little time apart gives you the opportunity to sit back, reflect on how it was, what were the conversations like, what was just the times in silence like. All that time that you get when you're apart to think, like, allows you to work out whether you actually really like the person, for one, work out the future, work out what you want to do next. Like, it gives you that breathing room to actually figure out how well the relationship actually is, like how good the relationship is. Sorry.
I think there was a video I saw ages ago from like Jason Capital, that like public speaker guy.
Yeah.
And he was like, even if you live with your partner, don't always just be in the same room as each other, like 24/7. You're going to spend all this time with each other, but have time apart. It's like having your own room in like the flat, the apartment, to like have your own kind of space. Because if you're always spending every moment of every day with each other, you will eventually become more like friends, and all these different areas start like blending in.
Yeah.
It's good to have like some of these things separated so you can like feel the different elements of the relationship.
And also, it's so easy whenever you're in love with someone or completely besotted by someone, that whenever you spend all that time together, it's so easy to lose yourself as well.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
it's so easy to be completely on top of each other that you start maybe molding yourself around them, depending on whatever the relationship dynamic is. It's so easy to end up molding yourself around each other. So again, whenever you do have that time apart, it allows you to ensure that you are taking time to self-reflect on who you are and what you want and what you need, instead of maybe potentially changing yourself to be who you think they want and who do you think they need. You know what I mean?
Yeah, massively.
Do you have another key?
Let me have a look at my notes.
You don't have any notes.
I do have notes. Do you have another one?
I think honest and open communication. You love this one because you want to tell your partner everything and anything about you.
Yeah, I think so. I've got like massively, and I have done in my life a lot of stupid, dodgy, idiotic things that I'm proud of. It's who I am, but I kind of like want them to know these things because I'm always like if that person knows that about me and they're still willing to be with me and not judge me, that's going to be something for the long haul.
Yeah.
And if I have to think for a moment that person is going to think differently of me, well, then that person isn't really going to like the real person of who I am. And if I have to colour certain areas of my life with a shade of grey, well, then again, I'm not really being myself. And it means that I have to be cautious when they're around my friends or around other people, what those people are going to say. And it's like, I don't want to have to feel like that. I don't want to have to feel like there's ever going to be anything that, I have to be cautious of, Obviously, lads chat how we talk is, it's not how we talk in front of the missus and, other people. But in terms of stories and stuff that happens, it's like, that's a part of my life and a part of who I am. And if that person's going to be with me, let's really push the boundaries and, toe fuck the line and see how comfortable they are. And if, look, they don't like that, well, then it's probably not going to work out anyway. And if you have to not tell them a certain thing about you just to keep them around, they're probably not going to like you anyway. So, and yeah,
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I think open and honest communication is very important. I feel like you should be with someone who you feel like you can tell anything to. But I think it's very nuanced as well. And there's like a caveat to that because I think there is a level of a relationship where you want to tell your partner everything, but also you need to be aware of whether your partner is ready to receive the information that you're willing to give.
Yeah, you got to read the room as well.
Yeah, you got to read the room. So I guess, because I was actually speaking to my hairdresser, and she's a psychotherapist as well, and she was talking about how she has relationships where she may be feeling a certain way about the relationship, and I'm just like, oh, why not just speak to him or why not speak to her? And she's like, well, because it's not their issue, it's mine. It's just like what, because for her,
that's slightly different.
Yeah, but for example, if you have something about yourself that you would like to tell your partner at some stage, and you're kind of like going back and forth on whether you want to tell them, it's like first you need to figure out what do you expect from them whenever you tell them this thing. So what do you want, like remorse? Do you want love? Do you want, I don't know, help? Like it depends what the situation is. So I think understanding what you need from that partner when you give them the information is so important, because some people, as much as they may love you, some people won't be able to, I guess, either understand or even be ready to receive certain bits of information that you're willing to give them. So I think it's so important to be aware of that. And like, I guess for her, she was like, she says, sometimes I don't bring it to them because it's probably a case where they're not ready to receive it. And I was like, oh, but how do you know? And she's like, well, I've brought up things that if they wanted to know more, they'd ask more questions. And you've been in that situation before. And I was like,
it comes to being able to read the room as well.
Yeah. I was just like, that's completely fair. I guess you may have things you want to tell people, but if you don't feel as if they are ready to receive, then it's not really fair on them for you to give that information. And then if they don't react in the way that you expect them to when you give it to them,
you can't
you can't be butthurt about it.
You can't be butthurt, but it also might like reshift your perspective by being able to like see how that person reacts,
But also, why should it reshift your perspective based on what you created in your head of how you wanted them to react?
It's not that, but if you tell someone something and if they react negatively or it changes...
Oh, well, not necessarily negatively.
Yeah,
but
I'm saying based on that. If they react negatively and it changes their opinion of you, then you go, okay, well, maybe my
if they change
expectation of who I thought they were and the reality, maybe they're not like...
Yeah, if they're changing their opinion on you as a person, that's completely fair. But in terms of like their reaction and maybe that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I was like, that's a bloody good point.
Yeah, that's a very fair point. And I think
so I'm just not going to tell anyone anything.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just going to just bury everything deep down.
Deep down.
I think you have to be good at like reading the room as well, and like I think she's right in what she said in terms of like if they wanted to know more, they would ask more.
Yeah.
And you can pick up what that person's like. You can put down like breadcrumbs almost, and you see how that person like reacts to it.
Yeah.
And if they're going to ask questions or dive into it, you can also get a sense of what that person is like as well, and how much of an investment they are involved.
Yeah, I think the communication thing is massive, and it may sound easy, like it's just you just talk to, but like
you have all these small moments where it's like you'll be like, I just won't tell them that.
Yeah,
and people don't realize, but it's like those 1%ers add up, and before you know it, you've built a habit where it's like you're always assessing whether it's like, it's probably something they don't need to know.
Yeah,
and I think if you're just always someone that tries to be open, you'll just build just an easy, smooth flow of just like honesty, communication. It just becomes second nature.
Yeah,
it's like, well, fuck it, let's just tell them.
And I do think
let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, and I do think it's really important to learn, whenever you're in a relationship, to learn how to express yourself with your partner, with the trust that they're going to receive it in the best way possible. But also on the flip side, it's also important for you as the partner receiving that you create an environment that is that where they feel safe to actually bring that issue to you. You know what I mean?
Even if some of those stories were debaucherous and shameful.
She obviously gave you some a safe space to tell her. You're probably excited to bloody tell them.
I was like, oh my god! So then I look at their reaction. I'm
first date. Oh, by the way, I want to tell you this.
Yeah, I was. Oh, they're gonna find this so funny. I'm like, that's weird. You're not reacting how I thought you'd react. Why aren't you laughing?
But yeah, the foundation of a strong relationship is the ability to share your thoughts and your feelings freely without fear of judgment. You know what I mean?
I think that creates so much room for like development as well. Because if you feel that you can be your most comfortable self, it gives you so much room for growth.
And if you're not able to do that, I feel like
you become very stunted.
Yeah, and the relationship is probably gonna not work out if you haven't been given, or if you haven't created that environment for your partner. But I think one also important one is to learn the love language.
Yeah, I think learning their love language and to do that, you have to understand different love languages, understand what triggers they have and, what tendencies they have. But I think knowing that, it's massive because, in any kind of dating environment, first date, second date, long-term relationship, situationship, understanding why people may react a certain way instead of you like building a narrative or an opinion of what that person is like, you just come to it with more empathy and understanding, and that can be huge because it can make that person more comfortable, make them like bring down their walls and just become more open because they feel they can be more open with you and be themselves more, and that can also lead them to developing themselves more and working on themselves more, the fact that they can be more open with you.
And I think what people get wrong with love languages is that you have your physical touch, you have your quality time, you have your words of affirmation, you have your gifts, you have all that sort of stuff. But I think what people get wrong about love languages
I was thinking of attachment style. Sorry, when I went off on that tangent.
Oh, were you?
That makes more sense. Yeah. Love language. Yeah, sorry. Okay.
I was I'll just carry on.
Yeah. I was like, that's not the same.
I think what people get wrong so often is that they have a love language of physical touch, and they then think that the way to love their partner is by love language. But I think it's so important for people to realize whenever you're with someone, you don't love them in the way that you want to be loved. You love them the way that they want to be loved. So if your love language is physical touch, that's great. But if your partner's is words of affirmation and physical touch is like at the bottom of her list,
you need to know how to speak to that.
You can't be giving your partner physical touch every single day, but then not telling them how good they look or how much you appreciate them. Because as much as, everyone likes to be touched, or to a degree, not everyone likes to be touched. If you're not able to give them their love language, the one that's at the top of their list, then you're failing miserably.
Yeah, 100%. Massively.
Like, miserably.
I think I used to do that in my last relationship as well. I just thought, my love language would be the way that I would speak to them. But, even though they reiterated loads of times where it's like, that's not theirs. It took a while to really understand. It's like,
but it's hard though.
It is hard. It is hard because it's just your natural thing. It's, if you've been on your own, especially for a while as well, all you're used to doing is doing things your way and how you like to do things. And it takes just a bit of an understanding and... You right there, mate? It takes a bit of an understanding and practice. She's chasing his tail. A bit of an understanding and practice to just put that into place. And just, even if you do it even if you just notice it and register it in really small things, just every now and then, it will just build up into like a bit more of a habit of thinking of others, And some people are just naturally better at thinking about themselves first. And I think I fall very easily into that category.
Yeah.
And it just takes practice of like thinking of other people and how you can, appease to that part.
Oh, 100%. And I think the idea of loving your partner the way they want to be loved, I think doing that is within the hope that they're also going to love you the way that you want to be loved. So it's not like if your love language is physical touch and that's how you want to give it, but you're like, no, I need to give words of affirmation. With your partner knowing that yours is physical touch, if you've chosen the right person and they are aware of that, then the hope is that they will then love you back with physical touch as you then love them with words of affirmation. And that's kind of like the duality when it comes to relationship. It's like a nice balance, because you can't really, if it's not balanced, then that's where there's usually an issue. If you're constantly giving them their words of affirmation, but then you're not getting the physical touch from them, well, as in they're not approaching you with the physical touch without you going first, that's when there's like the imbalance and the unhappiness arises. Like, I'm giving her everything she needs or him everything he needs, but I don't feel as if it's being returned. And they might be thinking that they're doing it because they're probably giving you love in the way that they want to be loved. But then that's not really doing it for you, because that's not the way that you need to be loved. Doing
it for them.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Do you think your like love languages have changed?
The way, yeah. Fair. Yeah. I used to give and receive love with words of affirmation. But now I barely give words of affirmation, whether it's in friendships or even like romantic relationships. Something I'm working on because I'm aware of it. But yeah, words of affirmation. It came to, remember we touched on it in Love Bombing. Like, I used to use word of affirmation to try and like fast track that relationship so that people like really know I'm into them. Whereas now, like, that's like giving words of affirmation is probably like on my lowest, and receiving it's probably one of the lower ones as well.
Fair.
I'd say like quality time is up there with how I receive and how I give. Yeah, love language.
Fair. I think mine has changed. I think that more, I don't know, I think it used to be like words of affirmation as well.
No.
I think it used to be words of affirmation as well. I think that is still there, but I don't know. I'm still trying to work it out.
Oh, you don't actually know what yours, how you like to receive it now?
I think words of affirmation is definitely up there. Like,
oh yeah, 100%.
Like it's definitely up there.
I would say words of affirmation is like top one, if not two.
And then I think maybe like, I don't know, I'm falling between, what are they? You got words of affirmation,
physical touch, quality time, acts of service,
and then, is that it?
No, there's 5. Words of affirmation.
Gifts.
Gifts. Yeah, gifts.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, gifts. Yeah.
I think acts of service maybe is like kind of going up there.
You like to give that, or you like to receive that?
I like to receive that. Yeah, I think I like to receive that. I don't know. I'm kind of like trying to work it out. So I think I'm still trying to work this out, because I think my love languages before were based on areas of inadequacy that I hadn't dealt with. But now the more I've dealt with it...
Inadequacies within yourself?
Like, I think that maybe time spent was a really big one, because I was so codependent in my last few relationships.
Fair.
Where it's like, that's why it was such a big love language. But now the more I've like developed, I'm like, I don't really care about that as much anymore.
About quality time?
Yeah, I can feel the affection and attention without needing to be around that person 24/7.
Yeah.
I can feel like a really strong connection. So now I'm trying to figure out, if that's the case, what are kind of like the things that are more important to me. So that's why I think it is changing, and I'm kind of trying to like work out what they are, you know? I'm like, yeah, I think words of affirmation for sure, because I think that for me just builds into like open communication and just being able to talk about how you feel and acknowledge the other person for doing nice things and doing things that, you know, like thanks for making me feel a certain way and all that kind of stuff. I think that feeds in for me words of affirmation, if that is kind of the same.
Yeah, that would be on the same wavelength.
And then from there, it's just trying to figure out like what my other ones are, really, like my top 2. But that's just going to be a learning curve.
Yeah, acts of service is a good one.
Yeah, because I think
I like that as well. Because
yeah,
I don't really expect
even if someone
much
wakes
from
me up
people.
with like a coffee,
Yeah.
I'm like, that a small gesture is like, it's really nice, it's thoughtful. It doesn't have to be like an extravagant an extravagant thing, but it's like a really small gesture. You know, like I went past the shops and I know you like this chocolate, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I bought this for you, and I'm just like, that's so just no, I know it's nice. Yeah, I know.
Big man.
Yeah, exactly. Oakley, he gets it. But yeah.
But yes, I think we're finito.
Sweet. I've got a bottomless brunch today, so I cannot wait to get.
And I've got work. But thank you very much, everyone, for listening in today.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And
always
as
a
always,
pleasure, never a chore.
Follow us on all the different social media platforms.
Yes,
like, share, subscribe, and also let us know the kind of stuff you want us talking about. We'll put up more, I think, some IG stories, on our Instagram page, and on our Instagram page, and see what we can get, because there's definitely going to be like loads more things that we can touch on. I'm excited to see what other topics we can get across.
Bloody beautiful. Okay, everyone, thank you very much.
Peace and love.
Peace.
Stay safe and enjoy your weekend.
Bye. You're probably not listening on the weekend though. It literally comes out on a Thursday. All right, bye.
See ya.